You still are very much with Afternoon Express, and yes, we promised you it's going to be a treat today. Another masterclass in session, and Julie Carter is here. She is the ultimate fishmonger. Julie, it's so good to have you back with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We taking it very seriously today. Tuesday's show, I think, was like child's play.
Yeah.
We have got our aprons on. For us ladies with the manicures, I got a little bit of a glove situation going on because it's about to get serious in the kitchen, eh?
For sure.
Well, on today's masterclass, Julie Carter will be taking us through the basics of prawn preparation and giving us an easy step-by-step breakdown as to how to peel.
And then, of course, you get to devein them, and then you clean those prawns
You're
at
paying
home.
attention. You're paying attention.
Yeah, there's a lot that needs to happen. I came here prepared for this class.
Yeah.
Julie, let's talk about this, okay? Take us through the difference between how you clean your fish, like we did on Tuesday, and the mussels and prawns, because they're quite intricate. Those details are very, very specific.
Okay, so we're gonna clean the prawns. We're going to take the vein out, which is called deveining, and then we can shell them and take the head off. And the mussels over here, we're going to give them a rinse. We're going to take the beard out, and then they're going to be ready for cooking.
Okay, now seafood, I tend to always think of food very seasonally, like fruit and veg. We're smack bang in the middle of summer. Is fish similar to that kind of seasonal type of cuisine and eating?
Yes, for sure. I mean, we're going into the better season for fresh fish at the moment. It obviously depends on the weather as well. The fishermen can't go to sea if the wind is blowing.
Yeah.
So it's seasonal and weather dependent. Your farmed fish and farmed seafood, there are no seasons because they're farmed all year round.
Yeah.
Got you.
How sustainable is all of this that we've got in front of us here?
So the mussels and the oysters are both, and the calamari are on the Sassy Green list. The oysters and mussels are West Coast farmed, and they're filter feeders, and they're a good sustainable option.
Yeah.
Prawns are on the orange list, so I would keep them for special occasions.
I think a lot of us do certainly keep prawns for special occasions.
Especially on the wallet. Financially, definitely only for special occasions. Well, let's get straight into it. Let's learn, what is the first step when it comes to cleaning a prawn?
Okay, so we're going to take one of these. It's always better to use a larger prawn when you start out. It's less finicky. You can use a pair of scissors. I'm going to cut it down.
So at what point do you start? So you go.
Okay, so I'm going to put it. You're putting it in here, just where the shell starts, between the head and the shell.
Good.
Try not to dig the scissor or the blade into the flesh of the prawn.
So you almost want to run it right there on the
exactly.
edge.
And actually, you don't even have to look for it. It kind of guides you through the vein itself.
So you want to stop cutting just before the top of the tail.
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was growing up. We didn't have prawns, but what we did have, we had chicken feet.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The process of how you peel your chicken feet is very similar to how you do prawns. It's quite interesting.
So you want to take your... Sorry, got it? Yeah, I saw you doing that already. You want to take that and just hook the vein out and then pull it out.
How do you see the vein? If you can't see it, what does that mean?
Just give it a little squeeze like this and open it up.
There we go. Because, I mean, all your prawns won't be the same, right?
Yeah, some of them won't have a prominent vein. It depends on...
Mine was quite simple to find.
Mine is nowhere to be seen.
Okay, and then we're going to shell the prawn when you're ready.
Yeah.
Going to it actually peels off, the shell peels off really easily. And then if you haven't found the vein by then, it's going to come out.
There's
the vein, okay.
And are we still leaving the head on?
You can. I mean, some people like to have the head on, but if you want to take the head off, I would just break it.
This is actually quite a simple process. How are you finding it that side, Tabsi?
I mean, I've done this before.
Okay.
And I've found that if you had 10 prawns, not all 10 will be the same.
Yeah, exactly.
Some stubborn ones. This one, I think, that I've got here is a bit of a stubborn one, but it's one of those juicy, juicy ones. That's when you know it's...
Mine was also full of meat.
Ne?
Yeah, mine is full of meat. Okay. I'm going to take my head off.
If it's easier, I mean, you can also just cut the head off, right?
Yeah.
If it's easier, just cut the head off.
Unless you want to keep the head.
Yay, this was my very, very, very first prawn.
It's
cleaned, deshelled, and deveined.
Good idea to have a bowl of cold water next to you, just to give it a rinse. This one's got quite a prominent vein, so I'm just going to give it a rinse.
In terms of preparation
Actually,
before...
I should take this one back and do the exact same because it also had quite a prominent vein.
Oh,
Yes,
dear.
Tabsy.
Well, before you start this process, what would you need to have done with your prawns? Do you need to have taken them out the freezer for how long? Do they need to thaw? What's the process?
Yeah, it's best to thaw your prawns in the fridge, and then you're good to go.
I'm saying
they need to be defrosted, though, otherwise you're just going to mess it up.
That's it. That's what I wanted to find out. This is really, really simple when you really do have the time. And then the calamari. I mean, this calamari looks absolutely stunning, but I see that we've got two types of calamari there. What's the difference there?
So we've got calamari tubes and calamari tentacles.
Oh, okay, I see.
And how do you cook both? Is it quite different as to how you'd cook maybe the tubes and the tentacles?
Well, not really. I mean, if you want crispy calamari, you're going to dip it in flour and then just fry it for 30 seconds. Tentacles come out really delicious and crispy, and everybody loves them. I do.
Yep, I do too.
And the tubes you can also sear, so you would sear it in a hot pan.
And then, I mean, storage. The lifespan can be so tricky. I mean, prawns in particular, I always find you kind of have to eat them very quickly as you can. How do you preserve them?
Well, I would only defrost them prior to eating. I wouldn't keep them in the fridge for too long.
After that,
Yeah, and then cook them, keep them cold, always keep them cold, and then cook them right away. And they're not going to last very long after that.
To get your hands on how you can get into this process, simply head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. And then after the break, Chef Stormy will show us how to make a prawn bowl with spicy Asian dipping sauce, sounding delicious.
Thank you, fishmonger.
Perfect.